Now then, it's time to talk to the government representative this morning, who is Tom Pursglove, who's Minister of State for Legal Migration and Delivery, and joins me now. New in the job, of course.
Yes, less than 24 hours.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on
very
your
early days.
appointment. Straight into things then. I want to ask you, first of all, why we have paid another £100 million through Rwanda. That takes the total to £240 million when not a single person has been sent there yet.
So we have always said that this is an economic and development partnership as well as a migration partnership, and we think it's right that we support the Rwandan government with that economic development piece, as well as spending some of that money on some of the costs that are associated with getting the partnership up and running in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of capacity building. And that's particularly important in terms of responding to the Supreme Court judgment, making sure that everything is in place to ensure that this partnership is able to work at the first possible opportunity when we're able to send people to Rwanda. And when you consider that we are unacceptably spending £8 million a day in the asylum system at the moment, it is a key part of our strategy to bring those costs down. So I think this is the right investment to make that will help us to achieve those objectives of saving lives at sea, stopping people drowning in the Channel, as well as getting those costs under control in the way that I think taxpayers across the country would all want to see.
Well, yes, and some people say that the costs are high at the moment because the government is not doing an efficient job at processing those claims quickly enough. That's why people are having to be put up in hotels. And this is £240 million that's gone to the country. It's a huge amount of money when not a single person has been sent. And some people say they will never be sent under this policy.
I think that people will be sent under this policy. This is an important part of our strategy. It's worth just adding that the number of small boat crossings this year is down by 30%. The arrivals from Albania is down by 90%, so other parts of the strategy are working. But we do need to get the Rwanda partnership up and running, because I think in terms of the numbers of people making these terrible journeys organised by evil criminal gangs, this will help us to bring an end to that criminality and to make sure that people are properly supported in Rwanda, but taking all that danger away and getting those costs under control. And, of course, we are bringing the backlog down as well.
And you say that you're confident that this bill will work, and yet there are still doubts in the party, as you know, in both wings, both to the left and to the right of the party. There are worries about it. And today, The Times is reporting that Rishi Sunak was told by two senior government lawyers that this legislation risked failure. They said that the scheme would be seriously impeded from working because it provides an easy way for migrants to avoid deportation through individual legal challenges. He's been warned it wouldn't work by these lawyers and also by his outgoing immigration minister.
Well, the legislation closes off so many of the grounds that people have come forward with in raising claims about being sent to Rwanda previously. And of course, in a very, very limited number of circumstances, but that is incredibly limited. And we believe that this is robust. Lord Sumption has said, who is obviously very respected in the legal profession, has made the point that he thinks that this will do the job. I believe that this will do the job. The Prime Minister has said that we will do whatever is necessary in order to make this work. This is an important step in doing that. I think there is actually a unity of purpose amongst Conservative MPs that action does need to be taken, that we do need to deliver on this. We'll have the debates in Parliament around the content of the legislation, but I think there is that unity of purpose about just how critical this is, and the PM is doing exactly what he said he would do to bring forward measures to make this work.
So, just to be clear, you think it'll work even though these senior government lawyers think it risks failure?
As ministers, we, of course, receive a range of advice, as you would expect, as part of our decision-making. You'll recognise that I'm less than 24 hours into the job and I'm bringing myself up to speed with all of the decisions and everything that has come about before getting to this point. But I am confident, actually, that this will do what is necessary to deliver this partnership, which is a really important part of our strategy.
And Rishi Sunak, again, made his pitch to his own party to get behind this bill yesterday. He said it was the only approach. If there are amendments introduced at later readings of this bill, is there flexibility on that? Is the government prepared to make adjustments, or is this a take it or leave it?
I think the Prime Minister is right that the plan and the legislation underpinning it is what we need in order to deliver on this development and migration partnership with Rwanda, to be able to relocate people there. But, of course, there will be parliamentary debates, there will be opportunities for people to bring amendments, the House will consider them in the normal way, and as ministers we will engage constructively with parliamentarians around any concerns that they have and handle that in the way that we would any other piece of legislation.
So engage constructively, that means you are prepared to make tweaks and make changes to get this over the line?
We will engage with colleagues around concerns that they have, but I am pretty clear that this plan is the right plan and we are determined to see it through.
The Prime Minister made it clear that the first vote, which happens on Tuesday, is not a vote of confidence in him, but effectively it is, isn't it? I mean, if he loses, that's his authority on the line, isn't it?
I think that me and my colleagues back the Prime Minister. We respect the fact that he is making difficult decisions, he's keeping promises. I spend a lot of my time knocking on doors, talking to residents up and down my constituency, but also around the country, supporting colleagues as a government minister and being there as part of the Conservative team. I hear very clearly that people want to see action on this issue. This is the right approach to move this issue forward. I think what is actually incredible is the fact that the Labour Party go around saying we are the alternative to the Conservatives, we are the government in waiting, yet don't offer anything credible in this space that would shift the dial in any meaningful way. You've got Keir Starmer's long-standing position that he supports free movement. They don't really know where they stand on these issues, and I think they can just glide in under the radar and kid the British people they've got a plan. Well, they just haven't. Are
you trying to convince Labour to get on side? You need their votes.
No, but I do think that parliamentarians across the House should come together to back this. If you really want to stop the small boat crossings, this is such a critical part of the plan. I think all MPs should be getting in behind it.
Rishi Sunak's finished as a leader if he doesn't get this through, isn't he? I mean, given that he has made this the key part of his premiership, he stakes so much on this.
I think colleagues back the Prime Minister in taking action on this issue. I think colleagues will support the passage of this legislation. We have a unity of purpose about stopping the boats, and I think that he will lead us into this election. I think we will win the general election, and I think he is showing the leadership that the country wants to see on this really important issue.
One quick question about legal migration, which is, of course, your brief. New rules brought in by James Cleverly this week, which put restrictions on people bringing in partners. There's a real concern in the care sector that could lead to a real problem with recruitment and retention of staff who aren't able to bring their loved ones to this country. Are you worried about care homes closing down as a result?
Actually, we've responded, at least in part, to some of the feedback from the sector about making sure that there's proper accreditation around these care roles and CQC registration of providers, and that is done for a sufficient length of time to prove that these are real jobs and that these are real establishments, and we will come forward with greater detail on that. We think that it is right to get the levels of net migration down. The plans that we've announced, taken together with the student changes that we announced earlier in the year, we'll see that come down by 300,000. I've just been in the Department for Work and Pensions as a minister for the last 12 and a bit months. And what we think as a government is that it is right and proper that we support more people domestically to take on these roles wherever possible. We've got the Back to Work plan, enormous amounts of employment support to try and help and support people into work, perhaps people who've not had those opportunities on health or disability grounds previously. That is the right approach. But there are, of course, other visa routes that are available to people who you've described. But we just think that it's right that we bring those numbers down. They are too high at the moment, and we hear loud and clear the concern about those levels and think that we can do more to support people domestically to have the skills that they need to take on those jobs.
OK, Tom Pursglove, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much indeed for coming in.